Sometimes the strangest stories begin in the most ordinary of places: a quiet home, a loving family, a child's crib. But for one Minnesota woman, the strange never left. It grew up with her. All her life, she's carried memories that don't fit, signs that don't make sense, and encounters that blur the line between this world and something far beyond it. Now, after decades of silence, she's talking. Tonight, we open the pages of one woman's unbelievable journey, a story that will make you question where the supernatural ends and where the impossible begins. This is going to sound weird. Next, right here on your home for the very best in paranormal talk radio, I'm Dave Schrader, and this is my Paranormal 60.
I'm not gonna stand here and listen to this baloney. You won't know. He doesn't stand for baloney.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Hey, my darklings, it's an exciting night here, and I don't know if you missed it. Maybe you've been, abducted by aliens. Maybe you've been living in a cave with Sasquatch, and you totally missed the fact that I've got a new TV show. That's right, Paranormal Mysteries, and it's out and available, streambeacontv.com. Go to the website. You can find out ways to watch it, where you can find the app for your smart devices. 2 episodes are out and available now. Our very first episode at Ashmore Estates in Illinois, and our second episode at the R Theater. It's a 2-part episode. Each is from a different location, but the same owner, and a very strange set of circumstances, and probably one of the eeriest EVP I've ever collected in my life. So join us, Paranormal Mysteries. Dave Schrader, Cindy Kaza, Shane Pittman, your favorites from the Holzer Files are back, and we're opening up our own files now. You can scan the screen if you are watching this on YouTube, or just go check out streambeacontv.com. There'll be a link for it in tonight's show guide. I get to do a lot of cool events all over the world, and sometimes I like when I can just settle in the great state of Minnesota, hang out, meet and greet, and get to meet some of the locals here that I'd never heard of. And I did an event last year, and this lovely lady walked up to me and she said, "I'm an author. I'm an experiencer. This is going to sound weird." And I said, "Hit me," because I'm used to things sounding weird. And she handed me her book, and you know what? It's weird. It's weird. Lots of bizarre things. And it's only gotten weirder for our guest. She is joining us now. Dana Louise is here. Dana, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Hi. I'm trying to get in camera. Am I waving?
Perfect. Now,
Hey,
I
Dave.
do want to tell people, we tried to do this show for Sunday night's Paranormal 360, and we couldn't connect. Things kept acting weird. The computer would not record. We couldn't get the audio going. It was very strange. And I saged my computer. I smudged my microphone, and we invited her back tonight to be here live with us for the Paranormal 60, because I think you guys are going to really enjoy her story as well. And she's got a great shining personality. I think you guys are going to absolutely adore seeing her while she tells us these stories. Dana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And it's a full moon, so fingers crossed, you guys. Let's make it. I won't get excited or upset. I don't want to throw my energy out there. Thank you for having me. I super appreciate it. And thank you for having me back. That's
my
hilarious.
Pleasure. We do have a link for Dana's book on today's show guide. So if you're watching it on YouTube, you can find it there. If you're listening to your favorite podcast, the Paranormal 360, just go look at today's show descriptor and it'll give you the information there as well. All right, Dana. So this started at a very early age. I mean, you remember being in the crib and having weird experiences?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I call it a defining moment because I think it's just that's a psychological thing. When you have such a shock that wakes you up or changes you swiftly, permanently, it's called a defining moment. And that's what I think happened, because I'm just trying to, as an adult, go back and look at it and figure it out or adult it and all this kind of stuff. And so I believe that my synapses, when this happened, the shock of it with these ETs, and yes, I was in my crib. I had diapers still. I couldn't walk. I don't think I was even ready to walk. And, it's just a shocking thing. But in my heart and soul, was I scared or was I frightened? I think I was just too young. It was just an observation. I think I was just taking it in, observing, not knowing and surrendering. Essentially, you just have to surrender it. What can you do? I'm a baby. You're meat. You're a meatball. What are you going to do?
Well, and not having the experience of knowing what you're actually encountering, it can't be any weirder to a little baby or a child than any other experience that they're having for the first time.
Right.
Do you remember what was there? What came to visit you?
Well, it was the Grays. Yeah, it was the Grays. And yeah, I totally remember. I mean, like, legitimately all lines were functioning. My synapses is blowing up and everything. I feel like almost as if I was an adult self in that moment of seeing this, because they were in my window and I was woken up by a loud noise and there was commotion in the room, all these kinds of things. Kind of fast forward a little bit, when I was a little older and could talk, the little neighbor girl, she also heard the craft. We're going to just say a craft that had to be outside of the house, because there was humming and a vibration. And she said that, we were little kittles in the backyard talking about it. And she remembered that too. So that was a verification or a witness to that. Now, other people might experience crafts that are silent, so always, everything that I say, this is my experience. It comes through my filter, and I try to vet myself very strongly to be like, is that real? I'm very skeptical about things, and I try to vet things through. And yeah, so it was the Grays, and I saw them for years, up until I believe I was 8 or 10 years old, and then that shifted into a different program.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then. As an experiencer from a very young age,
Mhm.
I wonder which side of the looking glass you observe this. Do you believe that you are, I guess, a seed, a star seed? Do you believe that they have something to do with your existence here on Earth, as in creating you? Or do you think that they're just, this was a kind of a familiar connection, that they have been visiting your family and genealogy for years?
Right. I am trying to figure that out. And again, I'm going to say I have more questions than answers, and I have a lot of experience. But I mean, like, the more you learn, the more you know, you don't know, all that kind of stuff. So true, but makes it very exciting. Even for me, I'm so excited to go through this and learn and, look around the corner and everything. Could very possibly be a hereditary thing, and I'm trying to figure out which line, my dad's or my mom's. But people throw around this word starseed. I don't even know. Because I will also tell you, my whole life, I've tried to just be normal and step outside of this. So it's kind of like living above a pizzeria. Like, after a while, you don't want to eat pizza anymore. It's kind of like, I just kind of stay away from a lot of this stuff. So I have a different term and a different wisdom of, I'm learning more and more of who and how I am. And I hear, and other people who are psychics, mediums, they come to me, especially around town here. They're like, do you know who you are? And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of getting the clue. And so, but I would not call myself a starseed. No, I'm way, I'm unusual. I'm really, really, really weird. And you could say then, because I'm like, what the heck, all of this stuff. And I kind of say, well, I'm on a mission from God. So let's put it that way. I'm on a mission from God. And that just kind of makes a lot of sense of like why I didn't freak out when I was little. There must have been something inside my soul that was able to take it or go through it and compartmentalize it, because I told you last time, I just would kind of be like, okay, well, this is what happened. And then you just kind of set it over here and then go about your business. And I don't know. I mean, even to myself, it's just, I grew up with it, I guess. It's like having a weird uncle or something, you know?
You do. You have weird uncles that are short, gray, and giant almond-shaped eyes that come from outer space. Do you ever?
I know.
Do you have experiences with ghostly activity as well?
Yes. And
Now,
yes.
do you ever think that maybe they're trying to adapt the way you perceive them so that you're not freaked out about an alien, you're seeing something more humanistic?
You mean when a ghost comes and visits me?
Yeah.
That they would shapeshift? No.
Yeah, the alien is
different thing.
that the aliens are shape-shifting.
Well, aliens do shapeshift. I mean, that's 100% true. I think like Whitley Strieber, I kind of saw some blip on the TV or something one time, like these two alien guys that he saw. I'm like, oh, they're very similar to what I saw. And I did have one group shape shift. It's hard to shape shift right in front of me because I was scared because they had angular, features and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, are we scaring you? And I'm like, yeah. And so then they were like softer and like, it's still not working for me. Like, I still don't like you. And I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people that maybe see really nice aliens or something like that. But the aliens I've seen, even though the grays never hurt me or anything like that, they were pretty docile, but no bueno. I mean, you come in my room in the middle of the night. That's not cool, guys. I don't know what you were up to. I don't know what they did to me, what they wanted with me. I don't have memories of that. And, a lot of people are like, oh, you want to do hypnosis? No, thank you. I mean, the things that I do know is enough. I'm sentient. I'm like lucid enough because I don't know. I don't know how it would take if there was something really unattractive that they were doing. And I don't want to remember it. I'm happy as I am right now. And yeah, they shapeshift. Absolutely, they shapeshift. And because everything, existence is all about frequency. And so you can manipulate frequency how you want it. And that's a big subject. And so, yeah, of course. And do I trust things? I mean, like, I don't even trust things right now in the 3D world. We have AI, we're dealing with all these kinds of things. Yeah, I'm very skeptical. And you would think that after all the things I've seen and everything, that I would just be like, oh yeah, crop circles, flat earth. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but I mean, like, I'm just going to tell you, I believe in things because I've seen them and I've experienced them. Did I want that? No. Would I like it to go away? I've worked very hard for it to all go away. But ghosts are a very different thing. That's a whole different realm. And I don't know why all these weird supernatural paranormal creatures have decided to come and visit me. It's kind of funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. It's not funny when you're going through it.
What's your blood type?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Oh, positive.
Okay. Well,
because I'm so positive.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
what does
like
it mean?
Universal. That's like the universal
I'm
blood,
not
though, right?
R negative. Yeah, R because they're RH negative. Yeah, like, oh, that's that reptilian blood or something, or I don't even know, or the royal blood or something like that. Nope. Yeah, I'm O positive, and I think I can only give. Isn't this hilarious? To other positives. I think that's something about the blood or something where I think is more can give to everybody. I don't know. And then there's diets about that. I can eat potatoes, right? No, I'm sorry. I can't eat potatoes. I get fat because my body just wants me to be a middle-aged German lady or Norwegian, like that's my bohemian. So I got to stay away from the starch. No,
Dana,
that blood type.
You are quickly becoming the ADHD squirrel of this episode. I can see that already.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Let me pull you back for a second though.
Yes.
The reason I ask, I know a lot of people associate the RH negative or RH positive blood as possibly being alien lineage. I often thought, isn't it interesting? I wonder if more people that are having visitations are O, because that is a universal blood type, that if they need things for their hybridization program, you would be the perfect person for
Yeah.
something along those lines.
Right.
Now, when they come to you, and are they still coming to you?
No, I shut them all down, like,
Okay.
"Shut them all down, R2." No, because, there was an incident where they did come and they extracted my DNA and my husband's DNA. That's kind of a long story short, and, that was really
So you
upsetting
guys
to
are
me.
swingers, is what you're saying.
No, 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 and I didn't even realize that they had my husband's DNA until I was writing the book and going through that process and talking to a female friend, and she was like, "Oh, well, they not only have your eggs, they also have your husband's donation." And I'm like, "Crap," because then they could make full-blown children of mine,
Right.
100% my children, or hybrid them, or clone them, or whatever they want to do with that. And when they came to visit me, I'm like, "Why are you here?" And this is all telepathic. "Why are you here?" And they said, "We're here to save your planet." Which was kind of a little disclosure because it was, "We're here to save your planet," so that I knew that they weren't from Middle Earth, if you believe in that, because I kind of don't, but other
All right.
people say it, so I'll play along. But I'm like, "Okay, so you're extraterrestrial because you're not from here," and they took my DNA, and after that, this is the best I've ever gone through an interview about that, because usually I'll get teary-eyed and kind of cry because I can't even think about it, that they have my children and what are they
Right.
doing with them. It's very upsetting. And so, how do you deal, going forward with that? And so, um, yeah, that's, so after that, I'm like, I have to do everything energetically, go sit in a sweat lodge, I don't care what it is. I need to, calling all whatever, calling everybody, help, help, to shut it down, protect myself, protect my lineage, protect my children,
Well,
because I'm like,
we
yeah,
have listeners from around the world that believe that they are being visited, that they're having trouble with alien
yeah,
interactions, and
right,
many of them are stressed to the hilt because they can't
yeah,
figure out how to stop it. What
right.
advice would you give to people to help start to shut this down?
You have to talk to God. I mean, you have to connect to the divine source, the white light source energy, and stop them in that way, because you know, it's not right. To me, it's a little demonic or evil or something like that. It's not good. And so I, have to have my faith. My faith is very kind of different than a lot of people. I guess I would be more Gnostic or something like that. I believe in I believe in God and all these kinds of things, but I also believe in that protection. And so I, really went into that, and I went into my faith in different realms of that, of like, working with shaman or whatever it is. But I think it's being very sovereign and also saying no, because then they have to obey that. I do believe that, but it's very hard because I believe there's so many people out there. I mean, there's people that know they've been abducted. There's people that suspect it, but I think there's even way more people that have absolutely no clue, because there were many times that I did not have any memory of them visiting me. I had residual effects or affects afterwards. I was changed after the Greys would visit me. I would have like gifts, if you want to call it that, um, abilities or something like that. But there were many, many times I didn't know. And so I think that's the tragedy, is that a lot of people are being messed with and they don't even have any idea. It's very sad. I just, you know, I think of us as being cattle, and because people are like, I mean, please, I want everybody to understand. I don't think I'm, like, ooh, you got, abducted or something like that. I'm like, no, you don't want that. It was kind of shameful. It's upsetting, but also it's like, there's more people out there. It's just I had the ability to remember. I had the ability to be awake and aware. And I think that that's one thing that separates me from the rest of the herd. But I mean, seriously, we're
do you think then
cattle.
that do you think then that coming forth and putting your story on paper in a book, releasing it, coming on shows like mine to talk about it, do you believe that this is kind of a way for you to protect yourself because you're putting it out there? Do you think this also keeps the aliens away so that they're not messing with you?
No. And they were done like, over, 10, 15 years ago. I shut all that down. Kind of. I want to say kind of, because there was getting off subject a little bit. There was a little bit of super space program stuff, residuals kind of going on. I think I hadn't fulfilled my contract fully in that regard. And that happened after I was done with the Greys. I started up with the super space program, if you want to say that. Anyway, so no, I don't think so.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the super space program and the secret that was revealed to you a little bit later. I want to hold that off, but something pretty profound above and beyond the supernatural and strange element, something very real happened.
Yeah.
And you got corroboration towards a lot of your experiences and thoughts. You talked about them imbuing you with gifts. Can you give me a little bit of an insight as to what you mean by that?
Well, when I was little, I was able to affect electronics, which is still true to today, which is also why I have a hard time getting on other people's computers or something, especially if I'm excited or upset. I can just wonk out, technology and
I've noticed that tonight that
electric.
when you get into moments where you're excited, your video actually starts to stagger, and people in the chat room are watching it and noticing it. There were times where suddenly your video and audio are not synced, and then as you calm back down, they seem to come back together. So it's unusual to watch.
I probably shouldn't wave my arms. I'll sit on my hands. No, it's very true. And so, but my sister, who was older, she's always like, "Oh, that's static electricity." And I'm like, "No, it isn't," because I could really change things like digital clocks, which were new back in the day. And they used to have like, I won't show my arms. I'm like Italian anyway. Like disco lights, and I could affect all kinds of things. And there's a lot of these things that are still true to today, and a lot of things that come out, they just bubble out spontaneously, and I get embarrassed sometimes by them. And one of them happened at a conference with about 100 people in the room. I transformed it like a holodeck, like an actual Star Trek holodeck, and that was very much witnessed. And I didn't know I was capable of doing it, so I've never sat there and meditated to be figuring out all the things that I can do. It's just things kind of happen. And I don't know if that's from me, my soul, or being next to the Greys. But there was this other woman. She has some videos, and she was talking about this thing, psionics or something like that. And in her video, she's like, "Oh yeah, and then the Greys will zap you, and then you have psionic powers." And I'm like, "Oh snap!" Because then I was like looking it up, and then I'm like, "Okay, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know, yeah." A lot of weird things happen around me.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's fun. It can be fun, but but for me sometimes it can be like I said, because you're really weird when these things happen. And
but charmingly so. We do have to take a break. This is going to sound weird. Well, that's the promise the episode made, and so far delivering. The name of the book is This Is Gonna Sound Weird, and we do have a link for it on today's program guide. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more to discuss, and we'll do that right after this.
A vampire in Rhode Island?
A UFO crash in Connecticut?
A flying moose in Maine?
A haunted bridge that calls your name?
New England is weird.
Really weird.
Wicked Strange by Jeff Belanger and Frank Grace is your ticket to the bizarre. Ghosts, monsters, urban legends, and roadside oddities you won't believe until you see them.
So pre-order now on Amazon. It drops September 2nd.
Assuming the Black Dog of West Peak doesn't get you first.
Let's get strange.
Wicked Strange. Pre-order your copy now on Amazon.
Hey kids, believe it or not, we are here. This weekend is the Halloween Haunts and Hijinks event. I'll be there along with Ghost Brother Dalen Spratt. If you've watched any of the Ghost Brothers programs, you'll recognize Dalen immediately. He is hilarious. He is intelligent, very, very gifted at communicating with spirits. He'll be on hand. One of my all-time favorite mediums, Diet Renee, will be joining us. And it is a weekend of paranormal fun and hijinks. On Thursday night, we're going to have a costume party and get to know me party so that you get to mix and mingle with the other paranormal fans that are there and us. And then on Friday, we've got gallery sessions. We've got one-on-one communication sessions with Dalen and his spirit box. We've got different presentations and discussions, and then a ghost hunt each night. And we can't wait for you to be a part of this. So if you're watching right now, you can go ahead and scan the QRC code on your screen. Get tickets. I literally have 4 tickets left. That's it. 4 tickets, and you can join us this weekend. Or go check out our website at darknessevents.com. That's darknessevents.com. And who knows, Dana, maybe in the future we'll have to have you out to do a presentation and see if people would like to learn a little bit more and be in your presence. Maybe people with pacemakers should not come, though.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Anna Louise is our guest tonight, and she has written a book about her life. It's an awakening memoir. This is going to sound weird, and it does, and it is. But that's the beauty of this. And I love the fact that you can see the uncomfortable nature and sometimes the sadness hidden behind the smile and the twinkle eyes, but you're continuing to let this thing not lord over you, not control you, but you're dictating how the story is now being told. And I think that's fascinating, and that's great for people that might feel like their life is out of control because they're having these experiences as well. Have you had much feedback from people that have read your book that are dealing with similar circumstances?
Yeah, in most of my communications or videos I've made, I do freely say, reach out to me, DM me or whatever. And people do ask, or tell me their story. And also that's part of why I wrote the book. Because the more of us that get out there and say these things, then the more normal it is. And also, if I can be so weird, then maybe somebody with just one episode that feels out of whack or strange about it, to be like, like there's other people out there and many weird things have happened to them. And so it's a community. I just kind of want to create a community so people can talk about it. And it's like, hey, I'm so weird. Like, it doesn't matter what you say. I will accept you. I will listen to you. And, that's, like a mom, I'm just trying to open up in that way,
Do you think that these visits opened you up spiritually so that you can see and experience ghosts?
See, and that's the thing. I don't know if it's organic, who and how I was being born, or the interruption of being with the grace. I can't tell you. It could be a bit of both. A bit of both.
Have you
I'm
ever
not quite
dealt
sure.
with them simultaneously where you're seeing a ghost and an alien? And if so,
No.
have you ever noticed each other?
No, that's too big of a party. No. Oh my God. No, one thing at a time, please. No, and they're different energy, because when I've been in the room with aliens, it vibrates. There's a huge vibration. I won't do what I normally do. I like shake my hands. I'm like, "Rah!" But because I don't want the camera to go wonky or anything. But no, it's a very hard vibration to be in. And I think that's their frequency. It's their atmosphere. We live in a certain atmosphere. Fish live in a certain atmosphere. And I think the aliens I've encountered have had either I don't know if that's their atmosphere, or if that's what they do to the atmosphere in able to control the situation or control me. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'd love to talk to somebody else that's been in the room with other aliens that has had that extreme vibration that's going on. I do believe the Hindu texts that spoke about the gods, they called it that there was fire and one other element or something going on. And when I read that, I interpreted it as that's their interpretation of the frequency that was going on. Ghosts are very different. Ghosts have a different whole feeling, and it's just a very different situation with a ghost. So they're very separate things.
Have you ever been in close proximity to what you believe is an alien human hybrid?
Well, that's a good question because what we might just about get into is I was handed a file about my father 10 months after my book came out. And just to kind of go forward a little bit, I was talking to this other woman who's a psychic, and she's well known around the world. And she goes, I don't think he was fully human. And first of all, she's like, why weren't you afraid to go see him all by yourself? And I'm like, look, if God wanted to get me, that would already happen. So I wasn't afraid. I didn't pick up on him being a hybrid, but that could be. Now, when I've encountered the white hats, a lot of the white hats I feel are hybrids. I don't think that they're fully human. I do think there's some that are fully human.
I'm sorry, the white heads?
White hats.
Okay, what is a white hat? This is totally new terminology to me.
Oh, the white hats work with the shadow government, and they interrupt like the space programs. They're working on the space programs. You could
So
say
they're
that
human? Wait, are
Yeah.
they humans? Okay,
Yeah,
so they're
this
not
is a real
aliens
program.
donning white hats.
No.
Okay.
No,
All right.
these
Just
are
trying to keeping up with you
yeah.
here. All right.
No, this is a real thing, part of the shadow government. And they're up there. They have spacecraft. I'm sure the Space Force deals with them. But there are also white hats that are boots on the ground. White hats work for the CIA. They're part of the alliance of trying to do good for humanity. They kind of keep tabs on what's going on, what's being done, the interactions between humans and aliens, and they witness things. So the white hats are there to help, and yeah, that's what the white hats are
Okay.
in a nutshell.
But they are the humans that are trying to keep things on track.
Yeah, they're trying to like negotiate, and they're in between. They work in between our government and the other politicos and like galactic, on a galactic realm. So you could be in the Space Force, and then you could possibly be signed up with the alliance. It's kind of an underground thing. So you could possibly be working for the CIA, and I'll tell you, I don't know how they sign up for it, but you would be a subversive or underground working as a white hat. So you're witnessing and watching what the CIA is doing, but you're reporting back to the alliance as what's going on, and they intercede and interact with the whole galaxy is basically it. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, those are the white hats.
This is fascinating. That's why you tune into shows like this, folks, is we're taking you out of the ordinary. And I know this sounds extraordinary. This sounds so far out there, but what would these experiences sound like if they're happening?
Mhm.
This is exactly what I would expect it to be like for someone dealing with this. I bring that up not to question you or challenge you on this day. And I believe that you believe your experiences are very real. It's hard on the outside to put ourselves into that place. It's easy to cast aspersions and say, oh, she's nuts. This is crazy. Like I said, while you're doing this interview, and for those of you just listening, I encourage you, go back and watch the live YouTube video, because you'll see as we talk, you can see it etched in her face and in her eyes. the uncomfortable nature of this. This isn't somebody salaciously trying to sell their story who's out there
Mm-mm.
pounding the drum to make a movie. She is trying to confront these things and make it more accessible for others that may be having these similar situations. Now you've kind of teed this up for us, and we've talked about you being able to see ghosts and aliens.
Mhm.
Before we get to the wow factor of what you found out after the book came out, have you ever encountered other creatures?
Mhm. Yeah. A shadow hat man. And that was also witnessed by my son the same evening. And it happened because I had done well, I used to be, I'm a Reiki master teacher also, but I did that just to learn working with energy and everything. I never hung my shingle out. But at the end of well, you had to like get your minister's license. This is back in the 90s, you know. So the state of Minnesota wanted you to get your minister's license so that you could do kind of hands-on healing kind of a thing. So I did that. And then at the end of the seminar, the guy was like, "Oh, I'm going to blow something into your crown chakra." And I was like, "Oh Lord, no, don't." What? That was that was unexpected. Anyway, so he's like the usual thing, like, don't have sex, don't drink alcohol, drink plenty of water, la la la, all these little rules at the end of it. And I'm like, well, it's a Saturday night. I'm not going to come home and tell my husband we can't have sex and a couple of cocktails because I had a whatever crown chakra thing. I can't even think of the
Right.
word right now. Anyway, so I'm like, screw that. And I didn't, excuse me, and I didn't even ask for it, so I don't care. Well, then the next thing you know, I'm having what I call a waking, not really a waking dream, but kind of like a spiritual attack. And I woke up and I was saying, out of the ashes comes the phoenix, out of the ashes comes the phoenix. And I sat up in my bed. And normally if I'm having one of these dreams, my husband will be like, are you okay? La, la, la. But he was knocked out. So that was weird. I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen? And I just had this feeling. So I like looked around my shoulder, and sure enough, and David, got to tell you, at the time, because this is in the 90s, I had no idea and that this was even a thing. So there was like this guy in a fedora, floor to ceiling. He was like super tall. Like, how tall is the ceiling? Like 8 feet or something like that. Floor
Right.
to ceiling with this cape, black, standing in the corner of the room. I was like, oh my God. And so then I put a sheet over my head because, of course, a sheet is a cloaking device and it
Yeah, of course.
like protects you.
It's
Anyway.
science, folks.
Yeah, it's true. It's cotton. It's cotton. The cotton or the synthetics will protect you. Anyway, the next thing I know, my little boy, he's in his little diapers and he's like peeping next to me. He's like, Mom, Mom. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, who's that man standing in the corner over there? And this is like, I don't know, in the middle of the night. And I'm like, you can see him too. And he's like, yeah. And my son, who's like 31 years old now, he remembers it to this day. And I scooped him up and then we both sat under the sheet, blah, 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 blah. The thing of it is so with all of these things, almost everything I've ever encountered, I have no clue. And it wasn't until I was like, in my car and I was listening to Coast and somebody was bringing up shadow people and a shadow hat man. And I was like, what? They're real? So then I ran home and got on my computer, and this is still in the 90s. So the computer is pretty lame at that point. You know, there was no Google, I don't think. And anyway, sure enough, there was pictures of it. And I was like, oh my God, Christ almighty. Oh my God, this is for real. And other people have seen it. And that's what I love about this. That's what I like. I feel like my life's been this huge adventure. And things just keep, revealing themselves. And I want to say, much to your point a little bit earlier, we've been so benighted, the human species, we've been shut down and kept from the truth. And part of my book is to kind of expose some of these things. And the more that you open your mind up, like through the eyes of a child, the more we do these things. And let go of it a little bit of like what we've been taught and told is right. The more these things open up and then you can accept them. And it's kind of like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. This could make sense. This could make sense that we are children of a galaxy, that we are not abandoned here. We are not orphans. We're not alone. And that life goes on, and much of the work that you do, which is amazing, also proves these things, that there's communication through the spirit world, that there's more than what meets the eye, which to me is exciting and amazing. And I just like to love to dig into it more and more, because the more you dig into it and the more it unfolds, and the more you can dig into it. It's amazing.
Now you said earlier that we're the cattle. And you said,
Yeah.
though, that these aliens want to save us, save our planet. Are they saving us because we are their pets? Are they trying to save us because they need this planet to sustain their lives? I know that sounds so nefarious, but I'm just curious what your perspective on that is.
I don't know. I mean, really, I have no answers, and that's a really good question. I mean, and always, like, a lot of my answers are going to be both. I don't know, because I do know that there are a couple of factions of aliens that do live here. They live among us. They control much of what goes on around here. And I'm sorry, but they do feed off of us in different various forms. That's not cool. So what were these people doing? I don't know why they would want us or what they're doing, why the fascination with humans, because these guys did not look human at all. Now,
But so you don't know what they mean when they say they want to save us and save our planet.
I don't know. Yeah.
Did you ever ask? Or
Well,
do you
no, no, I had too many other things going on in the moment. Like, no, and then they knocked me out, of course, because that's what they always do. But no, I didn't really. I was swearing at them too much. And trying to like move and do all these other kinds. I had an agenda. I had other things that was going on, but I don't know. I mean, that's a really, really, really one of the best questions I've heard, Dave. Why would they care to save us or whatever? I mean, maybe we are their hamsters. Maybe we are their gerbils. It's a good question. I don't know.
And when so it's in those moments, you're not interested in maybe regressing through hypnotherapy to see if they've revealed any of that to you?
Oh, heck no. Nope. I don't know, because that was probably a gynecological visit, and I don't know what else they did. Yeah. And when I woke up in the morning, my clothes were in a puddle on the side of the bed, and I was naked, which is, I wear a bra. I'm like, I had socks on for heaven's sakes. And also my face was molted like Jazadic Dax from Star Trek, whatever. And, and I had to have that actually like
nerd.
I know. My nerd card. You want to see it? Yeah. From Deep Space
I just
Nine.
saw it.
Yeah. But anyway, I had to, because I had like brown all around, and because when I looked at, like here was this puddle of my clothes that I put on, and then I went to the bathroom like, oh snap, holy moly, because it went all the way down my neck, like this brown. It wouldn't scrub off. I tried dermabrasion, then I actually went and had to have like a laser do it to get this brown off of my face. And then I'm looking at Jazadic Dex, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was disclosure. There must be people like that. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, it just spins my mind. Like I said, it's pretty entertaining in my world. I don't know.
Let's do this. We're going to take our final break. We'll come back and let's talk about the revelation that happened after your book was released, and how that impacted and affected you going forward. We'll do that next, right here on the Paranormal 60.
How are you, Darklings? This is Mark Lanou, innovator, musician, world traveler, and no stranger to the paranormal. Come take a journey with me through this place we call life by picking up my new book, Reality Was Once the Tapestry of the Dreamer. It is available at Barnes & Noble online and will soon be available through other vendors. Get your copy by following the link in this ad or by visiting my official website at markalanlanou.com.
Did you know that radio just got a little extraterrestrial? That's right, Dave Schrader is back on radio with the Paranormal 360 every Sunday evening, 7 to 9 p.m. Central on WCCO AM 830, an Odyssey station. Just download the Odyssey app and look for the WCCO logo, follow the station, and listen live. That's the Paranormal 360 on WCCO AM 830, an Odyssey station.
And for those of you that don't live in the Twin Cities area but still want to hear my show, simply ask your smart device to play the Paranormal 360 or WCCO radio Sunday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Central, and your smart device will immediately fire it off because your smart device is smart and it knows where the good shows are. So give it a try. Dana Louise, our guest this evening. Get her book. Don't just buy it and read it. Rate and review it on Amazon as well. That goes a long way to help out. This is going to sound weird, the name of the book. Now, you wrote this book and you kind of thought maybe you were putting some of this to bed. And then something pretty impactful happened. How long after the book came out?
It was 10 months after my book came out. I got a phone call from a gentleman, which was really weird because I don't hand out my phone number, my cell phone. And I answered it for some strange reason. He's like, don't hang up. I'm like, okay. And he's like, he gave me this bologna story, in which I love about your show. Cause like I say bologna sandwich, bologna story. I say that all the time. And he told me that he found a file in a desk that he's had for 30 years. And it's about my dad. Would I like to have it? And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, my dad's been passed in 2010, and this was 23 or 2024. Because I think the book came out in 23, so it was 24. Anyway, so I met with him, and he, just for those who actually see the camera, this is the actual folder. And I'm telling you, I don't know if you have children or if you have dressers or a desk, but this folder is too clean to have lived behind a drawer in any way, shape, or form. The file starts from 1960 and goes up to 2008. In it were old-timey real pictures of, like, this is the supercomputer that my dad worked on. There's pictures of Hubert Humphrey, which is, I was just praying about that. I'm like, oh, geez, I wish I still had pictures of my dad with Hubert Humphrey. And there's all these, and there's classified papers that prove that my dad was working with NASA, which the family didn't know, because I guarantee you my mother at the bridge parties would be like, well, you know, Don works for NASA. And I know. And the voice, like, I have this voice that gently guides me or whatever, said, hey, take a picture of this one, you know, classified thing, because it says classified. And post it on Facebook. And I'm like, okay, because that's what I do. And so I posted it. And then all these nerdy old guys, you know, probably from MUFON or whatever, were like, oh my God, your dad was at Wright-Patterson? I'm like, I don't know. I just took a picture of this thing and posted. And they're like, oh, he must have been constructing or reverse engineering the spacecraft over there. And I'm like, well, we had no idea he was doing this or going there or working with NASA. And so to me, that was, and then there's all kinds of other places that he was at. The file's amazing. Dave, I'd love to have coffee with you and you could go siphon through it. It's kind of crazy. But I mean, yeah. So this man, I would consider to be a white hat, showing himself, because he has to be ex-CIA or something like that. How do you have this file from 1960 to 2008 on my father who died in 2010? And all of a sudden, you know, how many years later, 15 years later, it just shows up. And so it was my husband, I mean, his jaw hit the floor, because it's kind of like, here's the solid receipt. I have a couple other ones, but I mean, here's some real proof. This is real files. And what it said to me is, like, there's people behind the scenes that want disclosure. He's supporting me. He's, you know, somehow or another, he must have heard that I put this book out. So to me, that seemed like support. And I mean, it was like a real, a moment of a gratitude for all of this, because it's not only for me, it calmed me down of like, yes, everything I've been saying. Like, a man came up to my sister and myself at my dad's funeral and said, you know, talked about my dad and, you know, his genius working with the supercomputer and all this kind of stuff. And so it just ended up being, at this point, I'm like, oh my God, I think I have to write a second book now. And everybody's like, yeah, there's going to be a second book. And I was poo-pooing. I'm like, yeah, there's not going to be a second book. But after this file came out and everything, I'm like, okay, because now I'm starting to dig into some things. I'm going to dig into my dad's background. I'm going to dig into, you know, a lot of things, and we'll see where spirit takes me on that. And I'm hoping it'll be just as exciting as the first book. But I'm just so grateful that there are people working behind the lines that are trying to support us to get our word out, and people like yourself that are holding space for somebody such as myself to be able to, come forward, so that other people can hear this and not feel so weird.
No, that's
you know
great. Yeah, I think this is important because there are people that are dealing with different iterations of your story, and they're
Mhm.
lost. They don't know what to do, and it's got to be
Right.
scary. It's got to be
Mhm.
thrilling, exhilarating, and terrifying almost
Right.
simultaneously.
Right. Well, I'm used to it because I grew up with it, but I can imagine how shocking it is for, normal people to have to experience some of the things I have. I mean, I'm used to it. I mean, it's kind of like, but it would be very disconcerting and shocking, and I think people would be like, am I nuts? This just happened. But there's so many great shows, such as the shows that you've done, all the productions you've done, and the work you've brought forward, um, to help people realize that you're not alone. And this world is bigger than we can imagine it to be. And when you give it up and just say, hey, this is all about frequency, this is all frequency taking form. I mean, it's just way more playful. It's way more interesting. It's way more scientific. It's like God meets science. I think it's fascinating. But they don't they try to come after me. I mean, I'm not talking about the aliens so much anymore, but more of like the shadow government types, or if you want to call archons too. But anyway, they do try to come at me, but you do have to stay in a nonplussed higher vibration. Because when you start to get into fear, then you're playing their game. You can't be in this fear-based mentality, because that's what they want. That's how they control you.
Now, knowing everything that you know,
Mhm.
Dana, if you could pick your life in reverse, would
Mhm.
you not want any of this to have happened to you?
Well, there's a huge part that would like to just be normal, but knowing who and how I am, I'm so grateful because it's fascinating. I'm like, where my mind goes with space, and where it goes with science, and where it goes with the possibilities of religion and everything like that, and bringing those things together. It's just, to me, amazing and fascinating, and I feel as if then I am the spokesperson, hopefully, then for other people to be like, this world is just not Doritos and the Vikings, which I do love that part of the world, except for
How
the Vikings.
dare you?
I know, but there's more to life. There's so much
Right.
more to life. And even the things that we think, it's beyond that. And my mind keeps getting blown and blown and blown and blown and blown by all these things that we see and we're learning, even in Egypt and everything. I think it's fascinating. So the fact that I lived through it, I'm okay with it. Had I
All
died,
right.
well, I wouldn't be here right now, would I? But
Well,
anyway, and
let me ask you
they
this.
haven't hurt me that I know. Yeah.
Good. Good.
Except for taking my children.
Well, your eggs
Yeah.
at least. We don't know that we'll just put it out there that it's eggs. They're just testing them, right? No children out there. Let's
Right.
keep it that way. Let
Okay.
me ask you, in this file, what
Mhm.
was what would you say is the most shocking element to you?
I think okay, well, I don't know, because I had been praying that I had pictures of my dad with Hubert Humphrey, like, just like the month earlier, like, oh, geez, I wish we hadn't have pitched everything out of my dad's office. And here in this file, it's like God, I literally manifested it. God gave me that. I mean, like, I can't believe it. 15 years after my dad died, I get handed a picture that I was praying for. That, to me, that's what I love about God and God in my life, and the way things manifest for me. It's crazy. The other thing is that my dad was working for NASA. No one knew. And then
But
the whole Wright Patterson thing. I mean,
so
woo.
that yeah, obviously that's all kind of wow, but correct me if I'm wrong, but as part of this, you believe that you were part of a cosmic trade, an
Mhm,
experiment in
mhm.
infancy. Is
Yes,
that something
100%.
that you found out in this file or knew all along?
No, I knew it as a child. I knew it as a baby. I mean, I knew it.
So you
There's
think
just
your
some.
parents allowed this?
I don't think okay, so I don't think they knew. I don't think my dad consciously knew. I think you have to understand that when you're dealing with the government, they can boop you, boop, and erase your memory. And so that you don't remember that you made a negotiation or that you had this conference or these kinds of things. I do believe that because my dad lost his job. Okay, when I was about 8 or 10 or 8 years old, I was taken out to a tarmac and Air Force One pulled up and out pops Pat Nixon and Richard Nixon. That's a whole long story, but the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because Pat hands me a long stem red rose. And this is about the time that the Grays stopped visiting me. This is when I felt I was enticed to be in this space program on ships that are above Earth. And also, my dad lost his job. So the man at my dad's funeral said, I don't know why they fired him when he changed the supercomputer. Now, my dad always said he quit. So again, I believe both are true. But at a certain point last year, I was at a conference and the idea and the thought and a bunch of new memories started to bubble up that I was probably being slated for Montauk, if you know anything about that, which is what Stranger Things is kind of based on, with people who have psychic abilities and all that kind of stuff. So I think that they were talking and negotiating with my dad consciously on a conscious level that we want Dana to go to Camp Montauk. And he said no. And then they're like, well, then you're fired. And he's like, that's okay, I quit. And it destroyed my dad's career. And I was probably in about third grade or something when all of this happened. So I believe on a one level, my dad was conscious of it because he was protecting me. But I think on another level, he wasn't quite understanding what was going on. I don't think I think they booped him, boop. So, erased some of that. I think they do that to a lot of employees, kind of like that Severance movie or show. Yeah, just very compartmentalized. I think that happens to a lot of government people who are working in deep state programs.
With about a minute and a half left to go on
Yeah.
you come out with the book now. What are you hoping this book can do? Is this more of a cathartic healing for you, or are you hoping that this opens up a bigger dialogue?
Yes, that's what I'm hoping for, because to bring clarity and calming to other people, to say you're not alone, and also maybe it'll help in disclosure. Now, let me tell you, do I want the full disclosure? I really kind of don't. I like things the way they are, but I do understand that people could be suffering and not knowing what's going on. And I'm here to say, I got big, broad shoulders. And I'm like, hey, I'll stand up there and I'll say it, that this stuff has happened to me and you're okay. You're not a nutso. There's a lot going on in the world. And, and more and more is being disclosed. And so it's, like I couldn't leave this life without sharing what happened. I think to me that would be a sin, because so much has happened to me. There's got to be a reason behind it. I'm not fully understanding what my position is or what I'm supposed to do. I follow the day as it goes, and I hope that God has a plan for me, because it seems as if he has. I don't know if it's the he anyway.
Somebody, something,
I don't know.
somewhere.
I just bumble along. Whatever.
And Louise, thank you so much for joining me tonight and being open about this.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
It's been an honor and a privilege.
And you're good. Yeah. And everybody who's listening, your audience. Thank you so much for understanding. I appreciate it a lot.
My pleasure. The extraordinary hides best in plain sight. Tonight, a quiet voice from St. Paul reminds us that the paranormal doesn't just haunt old houses or ancient battlefields. Sometimes it lives next door. Whether you call it cosmic, spiritual, or something else entirely, Dana's story forces us to look beyond the edges of comfort and admit that mystery is still alive and kicking in this world. And that's why we're here, to listen, to wonder, to keep the conversation going. And I hope that the darkness of this world is just a little brighter with the information that we share here on our Paranormal 60. Remember to watch Paranormal Mysteries every Friday night on Stream Beacon TV. Your adventure into the paranormal is just beginning. Only 2 episodes have aired. There's 6 total, 4 more to come with our season finale on Halloween night. I hope that you'll tune in and check it out. Paranormal Mysteries on Stream Beacon TV.